Hello ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to another CupofTCG video. It's your boys coming at you live once again, and this time round we're going to be talking about Skirmish Season 9, the one which, has just ended, or is just about to end. Had some dramatic flair with a number of decks hitting 11 Legend, including Dash, Briar, and our best friend, Zen. He's gone. Thank Christ. I'm joined, of course, by the ever-lovable CupofTCG cast. We got Ryan over there, we got Finley underneath me once again, and Callum over in the bottom right-hand side. Cheeky little pog. Lads, how we doing? How's everyone been? It's been a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months since our last video.
We've been playing Fab, we've been chilling, looking forward to Rosetta. Not a lot to say. Been cooking.
Playing the game, seeing the world, I've heard. I suppose we haven't done a video since Amsterdam, but we went to the Pro Tour Amsterdam, had a couple of the lads playing in the actual Pro Tour, Finley and Callum, and then playing the calling day 2 as well, and had some fun times over there. But that's a topic for another time, because right now we're talking about all things Blitz, and it wasn't something that a lot of us were too excited to play. And then it kind of become our life for a little bit. And I think we all kind of had fun. Finley, you put in a lot of practice coming into this on a deck that is very different from what you usually play. Usually, of course, the Bolton stand, and you took Betsy?
Yeah, I was feeling really disillusioned with Fab after the Pro Tour. And I was really bored with it. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just be the person who try-hard splits for this skirmish. And I played so many games of Betsy because she, in such a quick format, she's good. She pushes big attacks that can't be blocked. And I played 100 practice games of Betsy. I had a great win rate. I was like, okay, I'm going to be the person who gets the first LL points on Betsy in this skirmish. I was so confident. I was genuinely so confident with this list. I had so many reps. And I turn up to the skirmish, and I go 0-2 and drop. So it was a pretty poor showing.
So look, I was about to say, right, you said two things on the lead up to this explanation, right? You said, I'm going to be the one who try hard Blitz, and I'm going to play Betsy. Now, I don't know about you guys, but those two things aren't adding up in my head. So what led you to the choice to play Betsy?
Genuinely, Betsy has a favourable matchup into Zen in Blitz. She has a pretty solid matchup into Rhinar, and the other good Blitz hero, Arachne SC, she just out-damages him. So, into the 3 meta heroes, you have probably a slightly over 50% win rate. Arachne SC, I had, a hugely favourable matchup. Rhinar was, 60-40, and Zen was 55-45, something like that. So it felt pretty good, and I played 2 Runeblades.
Were they both Vincets or?
No, Vincent and a Briar.
Did you dodge the doomed wizard matchups?
But my 2 games, yeah.
That was it.
Hold on, I heard you got 1 win. I heard you got 1 win, right?
Yeah, that was the buy.
We had a 22-player skirmish.
Mr. Allocated.
Yeah, Mr. Allocated. Shout out to Buy Allocated.
Honestly, I tried so hard. Yeah. It was a little depressing, but next skirmish, I'll be the first person to put LL points on Betsy.
Let's jump over to Ryan, a usual resident Guardian player.
I heard Victor was pretty good this time round, but I chose to play one of my favorite decks. That I just really like playing this deck because it's so different to what I normally do, and that's the Emperor. Warrior, Wizard, Draconic, Royal.
Does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of cool things, but you have a deck restriction of only playing red cards. So I just thought it was fun. Kindle is a new addition, so you can now kill someone from 11 with your combo. Only playing red cards, which is pretty cool. I ended up going 3-2. I hit ninth place. So
Just
whatever.
Top egg.
Yeah, but I had fun, so
Good.
Can't complain.
I think the main thing for us for skirmish season, as you probably know from the content on the channel so far, we're classic constructed gamers.
Yeah.
And Blitz isn't our focus, but skirmish is a nice excuse to try a different format every now and again. But
yeah,
look, you can put no practice and do really well, or you can put 100 games in and go 0-2. So
I have
I don't know
no
if that says.
clue what you are talking about.
Let's
I don't know if that says anything about the format, but look, it is what it is.
Look, sometimes just the better players win. What can I say? So we've had a 0-2, we've had a 3-2. Callum, what did you play? How did you place?
So I was one of those players who thought, Blitz, meh, it is what it is. I'm just gonna pick a hero I like, find a deck that seems to be good, and turn up on the day. I played the Blitz deck that Mansant posted a video about.
Nice.
Shout out Mansant.
Mr. Sant.
And Mr. Sant, if you will. And yeah, I went 4-1 in Swiss, ended up 3rd seed in the top 8, and lost my quarter-final game. Yeah, I mean, I lost to a KO. So played a lot of brutes, played a lot of Blood Rush Bellows, had a lot of Blood Rush Bellows played against me.
Yeah.
It was a fun time. Levia is really powerful in that format. It's fun seeing the first 6 damage come your way and just launch your husk across the table at your opponent and say, nah.
Yeah, it's like C&C. No, actually, never mind. I'll keep my Arsenal cheers. Yeah,
the brutes are pretty naughty in this set. I just forgot to mention. I got one shot by a Rhinar as Emperor with all my full health, 15 health, got all my armor and a D-react, and all the cards in my hand got intimidated, and I just got smashed.
You should.
I was amazed. I was amazed to watch one of Callum's games after I burnt out of the tournament, where on his turn 0 he had already put his opponent to 8 or something ridiculous.
So it was my round 4 game into Briar, and I was 2-1 or 2-1 at that point, and I go first. I play an Art of War into a Blood Rush Bellows into a Wild Ride Claw Swing Big, something like that, and my Briar opponent starts at 6. On the first turn, when I played the Blood Rush Bellows, I pitch Ivophilia, and I look at the top 2 cards of my deck, and there is a blue 6 and a Blood Rush Bellows there, and I'm like, I think we might have time to grab a little snack after this one, lads.
It's already a short format with like 30-minute to games, and it's like, actually, we'll make it 10. And well, I don't think it was that, was it? At that
Not
point?
even that.
Like, poor Noah. Well, we've done 3 of us. I did all right.
Well, that was a good video, guys.
Good
Thanks
video.
Yeah. Like, surely nothing else of note happened, right? And surely no one living legend did dash.
Oh, yeah, that's the title of the video. Your boy Living Legend Dash. What can I say? I'm not a Blitz player, but I am a bloody Dash lover.
The gamer.
And so we alluded to it earlier. Captain, I played 100 games of Blitz on Talishar. Basically put me down in the dumps when we were doing some practicing, and I couldn't beat Betsy. So I was like, well, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to play. Tossing and turning. Ryan wasn't going to be playing Zen, so I thought, hey, Ryan, the day of, maybe I can play Zen. And everyone just said, dude, just play Dash. And I was like, fine, whatever. Yeah. I built a Dash list, 11 PM the night before. Actually built it the morning. Hadn't played a single game on it. We go 4-1 in Swiss, and then we clean sweep the top 8, and I win my first like actual event outside of like a pre-release or something, and so we get a cold foil blaze. Let's go. So Blitz is my format, boys. I'm transitioning from a CC gamer to a Blitz gamer. What can I say?
And most impressively, didn't just win an event, you got LL points on Dash the week she crosses the 500 point line. Very, very nice.
Rainbow Bridge.
R.I.P. my queen. But yeah, honestly, super sick. I was happy to get as far as I did inside of the top 8. I was happy to even make top 8 as my first top 8. And then once I won my next game and then won my top 4 as well, going to that finals, I was like, there's a chance I win this one. So let's do a full a full breakdown of what I played. So round 1 was against an Azalea. Won that one. Round 2 was against a Briar, lost that one. Then we played a Rhinar, a KO, then we cut to top 8 after going 4-1. Then inside of the top 8, we played against the Briar that I lost to, which just edged that game out. Then we played another Runeblade in Viserai, one of our locals, Dan. Vincent, the other V Runeblade. And then we played against...
Arachne, right?
Yes, Arachne Solitary Confinement in the finals, and that was a little bit nuts. There were some things in that game that I should not have done, in the sense of it felt very unfair, and certain blocking to things. But yeah, so I was super sick. Really happy with how we performed, and I'm calling it. I live in Legends Dash, so there we go.
There you go. You got to flex it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
How does it feel putting points on her?
Dude,
being, like,
really
Mechas, like,
sick. Really
thing
sick
you built,
because yeah, I was the very first event, like big event that we went to was Pro Tour Lille, and I chickened out of playing Lexi at that event and just took Dash as well. And I took this super red line Talishar Dash inside of CC, which I was finding quite a bit of success on, and then just didn't find any success on it at all in Lille. But I love the deck, and it's always been my second deck to come back to. And I've played it in Blitz a couple of times. I don't know if it was Skirmish Seasons or no, it was the there was an Armory event which had like some super old prizes, like the Anthology events, which was all Blitz and they had to be Blitz. And I played her then and I got some really close games that wasn't able to edge out the win there. So she's always been in my back pocket, but I didn't think she was positioned super well. So that's why I didn't just snap pick her to play inside of Blitz. But then I started building then obviously I got peer pressure into the boys being like, just play fucking Dash, what are you doing? And I looked at lists and I was like, yeah, actually this deck can do really well and do some really silly things. So
Yeah.
So speaking of the list,
should we have a look?
show us the list, and
Okay.
and you said you cooked it the night before, right?
Yeah.
And I think that might be obvious by
I have
by something.
I have no clue what you are talking about. This is a perfect list with nothing crazy here whatsoever. Yeah, it's a little bit bold to say the least. Lads, is there anything jumping out at you just from this page?
That's
Come
a
on,
generic card.
You got to address the pummel. You got to address
the Talishar. Oh, the pummel. Yeah, so I am a huge believer that mind games in Fab are great and I really love playing them. Also, who the fuck expects a Dash to run a pummel? You've got a lot of 2-cost cards in this deck that are incredibly powerful. Some of them you can't play with a pummel. For instance, MV, there's no way that you're going to be able to have the resources to be able to pummel it. But a lot of your other cards you are going to be able to. Your Twin Drives, we're running 2 of those just because of how great that card is. Throttle as well is an amazing target. And Scramble Pulse, which is very promptly becoming one of my favourite cards in Mech total. Magnetic Shockwave is also a 2-cost, but again, rare that you're going to be able to hit that pummel. But when you've got a lot of those 2-cost cards in your deck that allow you to be able to just go pummel, it feels pretty damn good. And it did win me 2 games after it not winning me one of my games. The Briar game, I resolved the pummel, but Briar did some silly things and still was able to edge me out. But yeah, really love that card. Cheeky little one-off.
I think it makes sense in a low life total, very quick game format like Blitz.
Yeah.
That a cheeky combat trick that can steal cards from your opponent, get some extra damage in, slow your opponent down. I mean, it makes sense. It seems like it worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
I agree. Plus, with mech, right, people aren't expecting you to have non-mech cards if you're boosting, which is this game plan as well, right? So they're like seeing you boost your very first turn. They're not expecting anything like a pummel.
No,
So
absolutely.
yeah, it's really
not.
hidden information, like you said.
Yeah, I think
People
there's a lot
really,
for it.
people really view like blocking mech as a maths problem too. Like you know their damage profile is pretty expected, and if you start ripping cards out of their hand with something that isn't Pulse Wave, I think it will throw a lot of people too. And as Callum said, Blitz is so fast that like you're probably rewarded for drawing the pummel more than you are for punished for boosting one pummel away.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I think I boosted pummel away twice in the evening. One of them was actually a turn ender, and it ruined me. The other one was against a Rhinar, where the game actually went really long because this Rhinar player, Toby, who's been on the channel before, is very prolific and knows what he's doing, likes to play the spite value of that deck, and I was on 9 cards remaining after boosting, and basically not giving a care in the world, not hitting the pummel, and I had to do some mental maths. I had a Twin Drive in hand, and I thought, the only way I can continue this turn, and it being stupid with still a full grip, is I need to double boost Twin Drive, and I need to hit the pummel, so then there's no mech cards in my deck. We double boost the Twin Drive. The first one's a mech, I think, okay, cool, at least I got my action point. And then the second one's the pummel. So I completely, literally, I completely high roll, and I'm like, okay, cool. And now the rest of my cards just boost, and there's no way that I can foul having go again at this point, which felt unfair, and that was the turn that I ended up winning.
Look, I think some of the best decks in Blitz are the ones that try to do the most unfair thing.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of is the format at the moment, and I think if you're adding just that little bit of spice to your deck that is getting something unfair that you can do over the line, then it makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk us through the rest of the list. Seems reasonably standard as far as sort of like boost attack actions and stuff go, but break the rest of it down for us.
Yeah, sure. So I actually want to touch on the equipment to begin with. So Pummel isn't the only generic card that I'm on the list. Goliath Gauntlet is an old school dash tech and an old school blitz tech as well, purely because being able to bump those 2 cost attacks over by +2 again for free is, again, just a bit silly and a little bit broken. And especially when you can threaten on hits with some of them as well, it can be kind of brutal. Talishar, again, not a mech card, cost 2, doesn't seem great, but a 2-for-4 weapon that you can swing 3 times in a game when your HP for most of the decks is only 20. You're threatening a strong percentage of their HP as damage just by, at the end of the chain, being able to go Talishar for 4. And it's always something they've got to have in the back of their mind. It converts the blues and the high density of yellows that we're running into 4 damage, even if you have nothing to pitch into during the turn, which is enough. And because it doesn't cost a boost, it's just a decent value in a game, which may go a couple more turns than you planned.
Yeah, I think the other consideration for weapon in a fast format like Blitz may have been something like Hanabi Blaster.
Hanabi Blaster, yeah.
But again, it just seems that little bit too slow in Blitz. So
yeah,
Talishar makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've seen Zens play it in CC in the last couple of months. It's for a game that's not going to go past 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah,
it makes
you don't care about the rust counters when the game's over before they accumulate, right?
No, I don't think Talishar broke once during the evening. The games are over by that point. If I was afforded the opportunity to be able to swing Talishar twice, the game was already in a very advantageous state, which was great. A really, really good card. Love that a lot. Crown of Providence, honestly, if you get a bad card in your hand that you Arsenal, you can just go, cool, I'm going to block 2 and then just have a 5-card grip to be able to swing at you. Can also get you out of some sticky situations when you're looking for a blue or when you're looking for just to get rid of a 2-cost in your hand that you really don't want to see at that time. Crown of Providence doesn't really need too much saying about it. Tetlo Foundry Heart is Tetlo Foundry Heart. This thing blocks 3, gives you free resources when you need it as well, converting your blues into 4 pitch instead of 3 pitch. It's the extra 1 cost that you need sometimes when a strong percentage of your deck is costing 1, and when it's not costing 1, you can turn a yellow into a blue, which is also good. So really, really nice card.
Class specific chess pieces are so strong, and you're not really going to be playing Tunic in a format like Blitz.
No,
because you probably won't, like we talked about with Talishar, you probably won't even tick that up 3 times enough to get the value out of it, right? So
it's Blossom of Spring or bust, honestly, if you're even thinking about playing a Tunic deck. But the fact that I don't need to.
Techlo Foundry Heart blocks 3 and it helps you get your max Vs over the line, right? Which is
it's great.
All that you want it to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so good.
Achilles Accelerator, again, AB1 in case you face up against something that needs AB. One of your Rune Blaze or something along those lines. But of course, it's primarily used for its instant ability, which gives me an action point. So if I do boost my Pummel or want to extend my turn without boosting a card on like a second chain link to be able to potentially threaten that there's nothing else coming, then you can snap your Achilles and you can gain your extra action point for a swing. I did multiple times do something similar where I ended the turn on my 3rd chain link with a throttle and then Achilles into a Talishar, which then is just like, okay, you wasn't expecting another swing here. You might have overblocked the previous or like some of the additional attacks previously. So then you're just in a really good spot and you can just continue swinging on through basically with that. So really, really good. Really strong Achilles Accelerator. All right.
Any equipment in the sideboard, or are we a Talishar only deck?
There is indeed equipment in the sideboard. When it comes down explicitly to weapons, we got the good old-fashioned Tetlo Plasma Pistol, just in case you go up against those pesky Guardians. Starting the game then with an Induction Chamber and just being able to go pistol, 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 turn after turn, just to be able to represent that 4 damage. Similar to what you would do with Talishar, but in a slightly different way, multiple chain links and making it more difficult to block. Notably, Dodge Guardians, they're only one in the room, so didn't need to worry about that.
Oh.
We've lost Finley.
And just like in the skirmish, Finley has dropped.
Finley has dropped.
Are you going to move the cameras or
Yeah,
anything?
I'll shut them up.
You could put a picture of Betsy there if you want instead.
You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to put a picture of Betsy there and just like fade it in.
Yeah, fade it in my experience too with my Blitz list, I played like a -5 Blitz deck as well. Like I never sided out a couple of cards too because of certain matchups, but
I think that's fine though, if I'm completely honest. Like Blitz used to be a format that you didn't have a sideboard. Like you used to just have to be like, here's my deck, and then you just present it, and that's fine. So I like that they've given us the option of sideboard now, but some decks honestly don't need it too much. I'm pretty content with how this deck performed as a 40. Obviously there's only 38 cards in the main, but it was rare that the 2 cards that came in and out actually came in and out.
Yeah, in the Levy deck that I played the same 40 in every game. The sideboard is just full of equipment, and I swapped one piece out for some AB at some point. So I think as long as you've got access to that for the pesky wizards, I think most decks can play a clean 40.
Yeah, that does remind me. I do also have Visitronic Model 1 in the sideboard just for the just be able to go up to AB3 in case I went up against a wizard. Again, I think there was with the Emperors. I think there were 2 Emperors in the room and a Blaze.
2 Emperors and a Blaze. Yeah.
So of course, not really huge things to worry about, but having access to natural AB1 anyway for Achilles, just being able to bump up to AB3 to truly ensure you're not going to get like beamed down by
Zero,
which is good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It just gives you that like it's one sideboard slot, and in those decks you're not going to be using your head armor anyway, so you might as well.
Yeah, great. Natural AB2 on class specific equipment. It's great.
Really good. That card is basically textless, other than AB2 though. That card sucks.
So it's Skullhorn.
It's Skullhorn. Yeah. It's Skullhorn. Yeah. It's Skullhorn, but mech. You can turn into Nitro Mechanoid with it, which is best. So.
What would you say your favorite card in this list was, or the most like outlier performer for you?
I kind of alluded to it earlier on, but one of my favorite cards, not even coming into this when I was like cooking up the deck a little, I was like, oh, this card could be really good or really bad, and it ended up being amazing, was Scramble Pulse. I have one more red Scramble Pulse on the side, and I can't remember taking it out at all. This card destroyed so much equipment over the evening because temper equipment has -1 while defending on the combat chain. And that means it pops when the combat chain breaks. If it's blocking,
you play T-bones and stuff,
and
right?
you play T-bones. So I had 2. My back-to-back brute games started with me having a pounder on board, pitching a blue for a Scramble Pulse, boosting. So this then comes in for 7 go again. Equipment had -1 with defending this combat chain, and then I just had 2 T-bones. I went T-bone, ripping.
Rancid.
Absolutely gross.
Rancid.
Honestly,
That is filthy.
So I'm ripping. Well. You're ripping either the head or the legs or the chest, the arms. I destroyed Savage Sash on turn 0 in one of my games. Like, it's silly. It's really, really silly, and it does feel broken. One interaction which didn't come up over the evening but could be relevant in some of your games if you want to play it is actually starting with your T-bones forcing the blocks and them not thinking about that, and then playing the Scramble Pulse afterwards. Scramble Pulse affects all defending equipment on the combat chain. So you can retroactively blow up equipment essentially by playing a Scramble Pulse as the final attack on the chain. It's not something that I did in the evening, as I said, but it could be relevant in some of your games if you really want to just stick it to your opponent and just ruin them even further after you've already played a couple of T-bones. But yeah, so Scramble Pulse is definitely the standout card, and it's a pummel target, which is very peak. So
did you pummel it?
I think once. I think my the 3 things that I pummeled were I pummeled a Twin Drive that I double boosted. I pummeled a Scramble Pulse, and I pummeled I think it was a yellow Throttle in one of my games. So
nice. Whose pummel was that?
It's a lovely rainbow foil one provided by you, as a matter of fact. So thank you for that one, buddy. Much appreciated.
Won me a few games that.
Yeah, I know. Usually against me, is why it felt good to use it against other people. I hope it's not too bent by the way I hand shuffle. But yeah, you might want to check your binder for that one.
Right.
MV is also another card which I want to shout out. In Blitz, it's much harder to get this to work if you aren't running a pure, like, almost Cheerios list. But that gets solved by Twin Drive.
Twin Drive, yeah.
Setting up a Twin Drive and a single card, and then playing an MV, again, is a little bit silly. You can pitch a blue to Twin Drive, you can then play a Twin Bone, you can then Tetlo Foundry Heart, gain your 2 resources, and just go maximum velocity from Arsenal, even cracking the Goliath Gauntlet just before that if you want, to be able to buff it to 12. And that's what I did against Dan Vincent to win.
Yeah, with the Goliath Gauntlet, that's nearly Emperor's whole life total.
It is.
Yeah.
We're just 3 shy. We're just 3 shy. That's all we need.
That Pummel will get that over the line, mate.
Yeah. I didn't start any of the games with anything other than Tetlo Pounder on the board, but there are a couple other targets as well. Of course, you've got in the sideboard the Induction Chamber. You've got Tetlo Core in the main as well, which is fantastic, and usually that second one comes in also. There is Signal Jammer in case you have the Wizards go up against you, and a Boom Grenade, but I don't think you would ever start the game with a Boom Grenade in the board, if I'm completely honest with you. The card's good, but the card's in the deck for a different reason.
So what is that reason?
Spark of Genius is the reason for that, if I'm honest. It allows you to put it into the field after you boost it once, cranking it so you lose the Steam token from it, but gain your action point, and then you draw a card. You play Spark of Genius for 0, looking for a 0-cost Boom Grenade, and then you go, cool, not only have I drawn a card here for free, I've got something on the board which is free, and now I'm threatening more damage because, hey, by the way, if Boom Grenade, any of my Met cards hits, you take 4 from the Boom Grenade. Any deck that I'm planning to go aggro into, which is a strong majority of them, I go Boom Grenade. The exception is the Brews, where the Scramble Pulse is simply too strong. And you really don't want a 0 block in your hand. So removing another one of those 0 blocks is incredibly powerful.
So would you say that you tend to bring the Boom Grenade in against decks with slightly less armor?
Yeah.
Just because it's easier to get that damage through, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
sense.
So Boom Grenade came in during the finals games against Ratley's Solitary Confinement, and it won me the game. It wasn't off a Spark of Genius, it was natural, but because it was natural, I played it from hand, I cranked, I ripped every card out of their hand while still presenting, I think it was maybe 1 or 2 damage over the top, but because it was 1 or 2 damage over the top, it was 6, and that just ends out the game. Boom Grenade is so good, and definitely an argument for why Dash.io could be very, very strong in Blitz now that OG Dash is across the Rainbow Bridge. RIP.
Yeah, it's a clean list. Like I say, it looks it's got some nice little interactions between a couple of cards. Say strong game plans.
One thing
good.
I've noticed, you're not playing High Octane, right?
No High Octane in this list, no.
Why is that?
So High Octane, if I was on Pistol, more consistently, High Octane would come into the list. The deck wasn't really built to do multiple High Octanes. It wasn't really built to do High Octane based off the Pistol and shoot Pistol. There's a lot of blues in the deck. There's not enough blues that, from memory, there's not enough blues and there's not enough of a game plan for me to do that. Because I'm running a lot of these 1-cost, 2-cost cards, you will often find that you're having to pitch your blues to actually play the cards in your hand instead of pitching them into your Pistol to be able to shoot. Doing 6 go again pitching a blue is more damage than a 2-2-2-2, which is a high variance, high octane play. It usually comes off the back of a couple of swings, but not only are you having to pitch 1 for it, I just found that it was a little bit clunky. The deck also doesn't top deck super well.
I suppose if you play the High Octane and you draw like one of these red or yellow 2-cost attacks, it doesn't curve super well. So better to just present the damage up front, ask your
swing
opponent
Talishar.
what are you going to do about this, and then like Ryan says, swing the rusty sword at the end.
I would rather those 2 resource to be able to be like 4 and then force a breakpoint instead of having to, well, what is then a pitching 3 if I'm loading the induction chamber as well, to be able to swing 4, which is what the pistol plan would be outside of high octane. If you're on more 0 costs, absolutely, I can see that being a plan. The fact that I'm only on what is it, 612 of them in T-Bone, Rainbow T-Bone and Rainbow 0 to 60, you could absolutely look at some more of the 0 costs. Probably not 0 to 50 because that card sucks, but there's more options now off the back of Bright Lights. I just stuck with the good old-fashioned staples, and that's one thing you'll notice. Not many of these cards are from Bright Lights, with the exception of Twin Drive. That card is sitting. I don't think. Yeah, this was Dynasty as well. So it's a lot of the OG cards that I played a few years back.
Yeah. So this is all really good, but what are you going to play for CC now, Carl? Are you going to go to Dash or?
No, I'm playing Aurora, mate. See, I very much could play Dash. I think she's still going to be in a great position. She is pretty close to LLing in CC as well. I don't think this game plan that I've laid out here would work in a 40-turn format. As much as I hate to say it, you cannot get away with a pummel in CC because you aren't
40-turn format. God, I hope I don't have to play those games.
40-turn format, 40 HP format. Pummel is too much of an inconsistency in CC, game. Even if it's 1. Yeah, Jesus.
That's a quick one.
Yeah, that is a quick one. Jesus. Hey, remember James White said that he don't want you to go to 0 instead of decking out? Not against tech. Yeah, Pummel is great. We already had Toma Find Out, and now that that's gone, that was like the 3 cards that we could afford to be generic. Yeah. You can't really put any more in. Now that they're gone, hey, someone cook a list with pummels. Go for it. But I think you need to be a little bit more deliberate with how you play your turns out in CC. In Blitz, you go Blitz mode. You go fuck you, fuck you, pummel. Which is good enough, and I love it. And that's all I need the deck to do. And for the first time ever, she didn't punish me, and we went 8-1. So I'll take it.
Yeah, congrats, man. Very nice. So you're looking at playing Runeblade next, eh?
Yes, looking to play Runeblade next. I mean, actually, speaking about it, we are cooking up some lists as we speak. We are building up Aurora in the background just before the set releases. Time of recording, this is before the world premiere. The world premiere is this weekend for us. We have still quite a few cards to see from a Lightning standpoint, but it's not the only thing we're cooking. We're kind of all Runeblade fans at this point, it seems like, from this set, because we've got some Florian getting built up in the background, which I think, honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of, but now I think I'm on the Florian train as well. So, hey, they're all Runeblades. They do the same thing, right? Surely. So I'm.
That's cool.
Yeah, they are really cool. So I'm looking forward to see what Rosetta can do.
So we're sort of all in the kitchen together with this one. I think this set has definitely sparked the interest of all of us. I'm enjoying putting a little bit of Runeblade seasoning on the top of top of this one. So hopefully we'll get some early brews out in a video soon.
Yeah, I'm happy to get some more Earth cards in my decks because I missed that from playing Oldhim. I love Earth cards, so.
I miss Earth cards so much. Bring Oldhim back, please.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, for now, guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions about this list, if you have like maybe 2 days to be able to still play this in Blitz before it's banned on the 6th, probably not enough time for me to get the video up, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, still look at this. And hell, if you have a Living Legend Blitz event go somewhere near you, go hog wild. Give this list a try. It might be a little bit of fun. Thanks for watching, guys.
We'll see you in the chat for Kyle.
Thank you. Love you guys. See you in a bit. Peace.
Bye.